You would tell a stranger you are grieving before you would tell your closest friend how much money you make. Let that land. Death, loss, heartbreak, failure, all of it, easier to say out loud than a number. A salary, a debt, a net worth that does not match the life you thought you would have by now. If that hits somewhere true, stay with me, because the silence around money is not a personality quirk. It is a psychological pattern, specific, measurable, and extraordinarily expensive. And once you understand why it exists, you will understand something about your financial life that no budget and no strategy has ever been able to touch. Here is the mechanism. Money is not just money inside the human brain. It is identity. It is worth it, status, proof, failure, shame, success. Every conversation about money is not a conversation about numbers. It is a conversation about who you are. And the brain, whose primary function is to protect the self, treats that conversation as a threat. This is called financial shame activation. When the topic of money enters a social space, your nervous system does not evaluate it as neutral information. It scans for danger. Will I be judged? Will I be found lacking? Will this number, this salary, this debt, this account balance change how this person sees me? And the moment that scan detects any risk at all, the system shuts the conversation down, not consciously, as a reflex, the same reflex that makes you change the subject, deflect with humor, suddenly become very busy, or answer a question about money with something vague enough to reveal nothing. You are not being private. You are being protected, and that protection, compounded over a lifetime, becomes one of the most expensive habits you never chose. The silence about money is not modesty. It is a wealth trap disguised as social grace, and the less you talk about money, the more power it has over you. Here is what I need you to understand before we go further. The silence is not just costing you conversations, it is costing you the only thing that could actually correct what the silence is hiding. We will come back to that. In 2018, researchers tracked financial communication patterns across more than 2,000 households in the United States. The finding was this: income did not explain the gap. Education did not explain the gap. The single greatest predictor of wealth accumulation across households with identical incomes was one thing: whether they were willing to talk about money openly. Not knowledge, not strategy. Conversation. Because conversation creates shared accountability. It forces financial reality into the open where it can be examined, rather than leaving it to operate in the dark where shame keeps it untouchable. The households that never talked about money were not more private. They were more financially alone, and financially alone. Every fear, every limiting belief, every distorted story about what is possible runs without correction, without challenge, without the one thing that could actually change it. Stop. I need you to stay with what I'm about to say, because this is the part most people skip past without realizing it applies to them. In 1899, a sociologist noticed something uncomfortable. People do not just want to have money. They want to look like they have it. His name was Thorstein Veblen, and what he observed in industrial America was a pattern so deeply human, it has never gone away. Middle-class families spending money they did not have to project a financial image they could not sustain, not out of greed, out of fear, because in a world where financial status and personal worth were treated as the same thing, admitting the truth felt more dangerous than performing the lie. That was 1899. Look around. The purchase posted online before the bill is paid. The car that costs more than the savings account behind it. The restaurant order that quietly exceeds the weekly grocery budget. The smile when someone asks how things are going. When the honest answer is not well, nothing has changed. Only the platforms. The performance of wealth is everywhere. The conversation about money is nowhere. And that gap between what people show and what people carry is where financial shame lives. Quietly, expensively, for decades. The most dangerous financial conversation is the one you are too afraid to have. Because the beliefs you never examine are the ones that run everything. Now look at your own life. Think about the last time someone asked about your finances and you gave them the real answer. Not the polished version, not the careful deflection. The actual number, the actual situation, the actual fear underneath it. When did that last happen? Think about the financial beliefs you carry that you have never said out loud to another person. That you are behind where you should be, that you are not as far along as people assume, that you are afraid the money will run out before something changes. Have you ever spoken those words to someone who could actually help you examine them? Or do they live only inside you, protected by silence, growing more certain with every year you leave them unchallenged? Think about what money sounded like in the home you grew up in. Was it discussed openly, or was it whispered, hidden? A source of tension that everyone felt but nobody named, because whatever the financial conversation looked like in that environment, that is the template your nervous system is still running, not as a choice, as a default. And here is the part that changes everything once you understand it. That template was formed before you understood what money even was. Before you had any ability to question it, it became a belief about whether you deserve to have money, whether it is safe to want it, whether people like you are allowed to build it. That belief is the root of the silence. Most people never find it. The ones who do change everything. Here is the one practice. This week, have one honest financial conversation you have been avoiding. Not publicly, not with an audience, with one person you trust. Not to solve anything, not to get advice, to say the true thing out loud. The number that feels shameful, the fear that feels too large to name, the financial reality you have been carrying alone because silence always felt safer than exposure. Say it once, to one person, because the moment a belief leaves the privacy of your own mind and enters a real conversation, it changes. It becomes examinable. And what can be examined can be changed. The silence was never protecting you. It was protecting the belief. And the belief, not the budget, not the income, not the market, is what has been running your financial life. Most people carry the silence their entire lives. They dress it up as privacy, as humility, as discretion. And it costs them everything that one honest conversation might have changed. The ones who break it, even once, discover something that cannot be undone. That the truth about their money, spoken out loud to someone safe, is never as dangerous as the version they have been living inside their own head. That is the moment the power shifts. Complete this sentence before you leave. Growing up, money in my home was something one word. Drop it below. Let's see what this community is actually carrying. The code O is in the comments. Drop your word and find it.